everybody, Mahoney here for another Tuesday tip, and I'm sorry that we're a little bit late. Normally we're going to come at noon on Tuesdays. We had technical difficulties today. So today we're going to talk about insurance coverage. Here's what we see all the time, and we're talking about vehicle, okay? We're not talking about home, we're talking about vehicle. Nobody has enough coverage on their cars. That's what we see. And I'm not talking about the car itself, although we can talk about that. That's a different thing. I'm talking about coverage for you and coverage for somebody else in the event that you get into a wreck. And even people that have assets, even people that are retired, even people that, are multimillionaires that we see don't have enough insurance coverage. The trend is if you're going to save money on insurance. Everybody's got an app and a Super Bowl commercial and save a couple $100 and blah, 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 blah. Well, let me tell you, I understand that inflation has hit, times are tough, but if you want to save a couple $100 a month, don't do it on your car insurance. If you want to save money, buy a cheaper car. Everybody wants to buy the brand new grand super wagon, whatever, with vibrating seats and laser weapons and all this crap, and yet then they don't want to pay money for car insurance, and they cut on the car insurance, and then if they get into a wreck, now they come in this office and there's real problems. So you should take out, this is what your automobile insurance policy looks like, and I'm going to cover my policy number and what it cost me. So here's the coverage on my two cars, and this is the basic coverage. And if you see on the bottom there, it says coverage for liability, coverage for uninsured, underinsured, coverage for the vehicle. So first thing, when you buy a car insurance policy, there's actually a bunch of different insurance policies wrapped into one thing. You've got collision coverage, which protects your car if you get into a wreck. You've got liability, which protects your assets. That's there in case the wreck is your fault and you get sued. So then the insurance company that you contract with defends you in the lawsuit, and you have a certain amount of coverage that they're responsible for to try to get you out of that lawsuit if you are at fault at a wreck and injure somebody. Now, whatever that amount is, that's the most that they're responsible for. So if your policy is $100,000, then all they're required to pay is the $100,000, and then you're on the hook for the difference. People don't have to just take the $100,000 and go away. Whatever you have in liability coverage, you also have an uninsured, underinsured coverage, and that's to protect you in case somebody hits you and it's their fault and they have crappy insurance. And these days, you have to presume that everybody driving has crappy insurance because pretty much everybody does. There's a reason we talk about trucking wrecks, because trucks actually have insurance policies. Everybody's got 25, 50 insurance policies. So let's talk about what these numbers mean. So you'll have a liability number, and it'll say 2550 or 5100 or 100 300 or 250 500. Those are the normal ones. 5100 means that you got $50,000 of coverage per person and $100,000 per wreck. That means that you'll also have $50,000 per person of uninsured, underinsured, and $100,000 per wreck. So if 4 people are injured in the wreck, the most the insurance company is going to pay is $100,000. If you've got 2550, then it's $25,000 per person, $50,000 per wreck. So if you slide through a stop sign and hit somebody, and there's 4 people in the car that are dramatically injured, and you got 5,100, the insurance company's going to throw $100,000 at the 4 people, and the rest is going to be your problem. And if you have assets, then they're going to come after those assets. Even if the assets are in retirement plans, they can get a judgment against you, collect 9% interest in Illinois, non-compounding, and wait until you start collecting and then collect on that judgment. But now not everybody's going to do that, but if you've got significant assets, even if they're tucked away in retirement accounts and there's a sophisticated lawyer, they'll find them and they'll go after those assets. Here's the other side of that whole thing. Somebody hits you and you only have 100, 300 policy because you decide that you needed to save a couple $100 so that you could buy the brand new Jeep Wagoneer. Well, now you've got $100,000 worth of coverage. So the person that hit you has a $25,000 policy or doesn't have any insurance policy. They don't have a valid driver's license, so they don't have an insurance policy. My team that works here can tell you we see this all the time. And now you get dramatically injured. You get a tib-fib fracture and a hip injury, and now you're in the hospital for 10 days while they do a reconstructive surgery on your hip, and they put plates and screws in your tibia and fibia. And then you got to go to a rehab facility, and you get rehabilitated for all of that, and you miss work for like a month or better. If you're a laborer, you're going to miss work for a lot longer than that. But if you work at a desk, you probably wouldn't miss work for 2 weeks or a month. Then you got to rehab. It's going to take you a year to get back, and you're never going to be the same. Your medical bills for that injury are going to be $400,000. I mean, you can run up a $25,000 medical bill simply going to the emergency room and getting a whole bunch of tests. And April, who's monitoring this video, is nodding her head going, yeah, we see that all the time. So what's the problem? Well, first of all, the healthcare provider doesn't have to charge the insurance, your health insurance, for the bill. They can charge you for the bill. And if there isn't enough insurance to cover it, then you're going to get stuck with that bill. You cannot force them to turn it into your health insurance. And a lot of times when there's a wreck, that's what they're going to do because they get to bill the wreck more money. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, we covered that in my video last week. So, and different states have different ways of collecting. So like in Illinois, the lien holders can only take 40% of the total amount of your recovery, but they can bill you for the difference. But in Wisconsin, they can take the whole thing. So that type of injury happens to you and you have a $100,000 policy, you're going to end up with nothing. You're not going to get money towards your out-of-pocket expenses. You are not going to get money towards your deductibles. It is quite possible that you're going to end up paying money out of this whole deal is quite possibly what's going to happen. You're definitely not going to get your lost income. And if the wreck is your fault and you've got significant assets, then you can end up with a real problem. I mean, it's Motorcycle Awareness Month as I'm doing this video. It is super easy during a sunset to not see a motorcycle coming and pull out and wham. Now you just caused a significant injury. And if you're not protected, then you're going to be in real trouble in terms of what happens. This is not the place to save money. So now let me show you that I put my money where my mouth is, my big mouth. So here, if you look on the bottom of mine, it says, oh, that was my umbrella. Sorry, I gave you the wrong policy. We'll get to that. So here's my basic policy again. Have you take a look at it. And on the bottom it says, bodily injury liability in thousands. So I have $1 million of bodily injury liability coverage in case the accident is my fault. I have $500,000 in property damage in case I run into somebody's house and burn it to the ground, I guess. But then I have $1 million of uninsured, underinsured coverage. That's to cover me. You know, if I'm on my way home tonight and somebody runs a stop sign and slams into me and takes me out of work for 3 months, I've got $1 million of uninsured, underinsured to help cover me. And you're going to see when I get to this that I have even more than that. Then I've got then my collision for the car and all that other stuff. Now, the other thing I'll point out to you, now my middle-age crisis car is on this, and that was stupid. But if you look at my car is a 2014. So I'm doing exactly what I'm telling you. I don't have a 2021 car. I don't have a brand new car with a payment. I have a 2014 Cadillac with no payments that had 50,000 miles that I bought used. I'm saving the money on the car and not on the insurance. Car ride's fine. Now, I do have my middle-age crisis car on here. Yes, I do. It is fun to drive, but that was a really stupid thing to buy. But it is still really fun to drive. Now, take a look at this. This is my umbrella policy. Everybody should have one of these. If you have a decent job and you have any assets, if you own a home, if you've got a retirement plan, you need one of these umbrella policies. And this is an umbrella, so it's on top of your regular policy. In my umbrella policy, I have a $2 million liability umbrella and another $1 million of uninsured, underinsured coverage. So that means that I have $2 million of uninsured, underinsured coverage and $3 million of liability. So if I injure somebody else, my insurance company's got a checkbook of up to $3 million to have that case go away so that it doesn't go after my personal assets. And I've got $2 million to protect myself in the event that somebody else injures me, so I can go back and I can get lost wages. I can get, loss in the value of my life if something like that happens where I can't do what I used to be able to do. It is difficult to get these liability umbrellas. Why? They don't cost a lot of money, so insurance agents don't push them. And there's a whole other reason as to why that is, but that liability umbrella of an additional $2 million and $3 million, and I'm gonna say what it is. You can see it's Pekin Life Insurance or Pekin Insurance. I think it's a very good insurance company. I buy a lot of insurance through them. $350 for an entire year for that additional coverage. $350. That's it. Why do agents not push them? Because they don't make a lot of money selling them, but there's a lot of exposure. Now, this basic coverage costs a decent amount of money, $350, and you get $2 million worth of liability and an additional $1 million on top of whatever your underlying policy is of uninsured, underinsured. If you have a decent job, if you've got a family, if you've got a house, you are crazy not to have this. The other thing that you have to make sure when you talk to your agent and say, I want an umbrella, they're going to get you a liability umbrella. Okay, first of all, they're going to tell you you don't need it. You watch. Call your agent and say, hey, I want to buy an umbrella policy for my vehicle. And watch. First thing they're going to say is, you don't need that. Okay, well, yeah, you do. So then the second thing is they're going to get you a liability umbrella, but it doesn't have an uninsured, underinsured umbrella. You have to specifically ask for it. And you're going to have to check the policy because when they send it to you, it might not be there. Okay? They don't regularly sell these. Even to people with assets, they don't sell these because they don't make a lot of money on them. That's why they don't sell them. But they exist. Tell your agent, call your agent, get off your damn app, get off the insurance company that is an ad during the Super Bowl, and call your agent and say, I need a really good coverage on my vehicle for liability and uninsured, underinsured, and I need an umbrella for liability and for uninsured, underinsured. Tell them that you need both and then read the policy. If you got any questions, message us. Message us on this video, call us. We'll be happy to go through it with you. Send us a picture of it. I'm only licensed in the state of Illinois. This doesn't create an attorney-client relationship. I have to always say that. This is an area where you cannot afford to cut corners because believe me, we have case after case after case after case that comes through our door where somebody is dramatically injured and there isn't enough insurance coverage. And now they're looking at bankruptcy because that's their only option. They've got nothing that they can do in order to change their situation, all because they wanted to save a couple of $100. Don't save the money here. Save the money on the car that you buy, but then buy really good insurance so that you're covered when the time comes. You got any questions, drop us a line. Thank you very much for watching. Go to the YouTube video and hit subscribe, please. Any questions, please drop them and we'll be happy to respond to them. We're going to come to you every Tuesday at about noon with a tip related to what we do or related to something new in the law. We hope to see you there. Thank you very much.